Good evening, it's John Slater here. If you've been on my channel before, thank you so much for coming back, and if you haven't, well, a very, very big welcome to you. The other day I was listening to some music, sort of thinking about the world in which we live today, and I came across this poem by one of my favourite singer-songwriters and poets, John Denver, who sadly left us many decades ago. But he wrote this poem, which is very appropriate to where we are today in the world. So here we go, The Box by John Denver. Once upon a time, in the land of Hushabye, around about the wondrous days of yore, they came across a sort of box bound up with chains and locked with locks and labelled, "Kindly do not touch its wall." A decree was issued round about, and all with a flourish and a shout, and a gaily coloured mascot tripping lightly on before. "Don't fiddle with this deadly box, or break the chains, or pick the locks, and please don't ever play with war." Well, the children understood, because children happen to be good. And they were just as good around the time of yore. They didn't try to pick the locks or break into that deadly box. They never tried to play about with war. Mummies didn't either. Sisters, aunts, grannies neither. Because they were quiet and sweet and pretty in those wondrous days of yore. Or very much the same as now, not the one that's to blame somehow for opening up that deadly box of war. But someone did. Someone battered in the lid and spilled the insides out across the floor. A sort of bouncy, bumping ball made up of guns and flags and all the tears and horror and death that comes with war. And it bounced right out and went bashing all about and bumping into everything in store. And what was sad and most unfair was it didn't really seem to care much of who it bumped or why or what or for. It bumped into the children mainly. I'll tell you quite plainly. It bumps them every day more and more, and it leaves them dead and burned and dying. Thousands of them sick and crying, because when it bumps, it's really very sore. Now, there's a way to stop the ball. It isn't very difficult at all. All it takes is wisdom, and I'm absolutely sure that we can get it back in the box and bind the chains and lock the locks. But no one seems to want to save the children anymore. Well, that's the way it all appears, because it's been bouncing around for years and years. And in spite of all the wisdom since those wondrous days of yore, and the time they came across the box bound up with chains and locked with locks and labelled, "Kindly do not touch its wall."